Testimony Director will now proceed with 5-minute questions from the members, and I'll begin. Our staff asked a series of straightforward questions to get some basic data figures back in September. Your office has simply stonewalled us. We informed you to be prepared to answer those questions today, so there's no excuse for further evasion or obfuscation. So I'm going to ask you now again, how many aliens who have entered the country pursuant to CHNV programs since October of 2022 have changed their immigration status?
First, let me start by saying I highly value the role that Congress plays in our oversight. I once was here. It's an odd position to be sitting here.
I appreciate that,
but I
it's
appreciate
not an answer to the question that we've been asking since September. So could you please answer the question, how many aliens who have entered the country pursuant to the CHNV program since October 2022 have changed their immigration status?
So I understand that just before this hearing, in preparation for this hearing, understanding the importance of returning those responses to you, you should have received a response to various questions that were requested in September.
We received a response to one question. I again repeat my question. For the third and final time, how many aliens who've entered the country pursuant to CHNV since October 2021 have changed their immigration status?
At the moment, I don't have those numbers with me, but
this
again,
is outrageous. How many aliens who've entered the country pursuant to CHNV since October 2022 remain CHNV parolees?
Again, I don't have those numbers with me.
You were asked these questions in September. You were told in advance of this hearing that they would be asked again, and you were advised to have answers for us. These are basic questions of data. I'm astonished and appalled that you would appear before this committee with all of this advance notice and not be prepared to answer these basic questions.
So, Mr. Chairman, as you understand, I am the director of USCIS. I obviously am going to do my best to get back to you.
There's no excuse for you appearing before this committee unprepared to ask or to answer questions that you were specifically informed would be asked.
And
this is a dereliction of duty, among other things, and frankly, a contempt of this Congress.
Mr. Chairman, with all due respect, this is a process that you're asking about.
These are basic data numbers.
That's correct.
And again, it's not like you're being surprised by them. You've been asked these questions since September, and you were told they would be specifically asked at the outset of this hearing as you prepared to be here.
Yes, and that's why.
And yet you come here completely unprepared.
That is exactly why I did my best to ensure we could answer what I could answer.
This is one of the saddest appearances by an agency head that I have observed in now 16 years in the U.S. House of Representatives. Let me ask you this. You posted a fact response back in October noting that there is no parole process under any of the CHNV parolee processes. How many CHNV aliens have had their parole expire and have not changed their immigration status?
So again, those are figures that not only require review of our systems at USCIS,
that you've had
but this
since
is a joint
September and were
program
told
with
to be asked.
CBP.
Let me ask again. For aliens who are not re-paroled, does their employment authorization terminate immediately upon the expiration of their parole?
Employment authorization was granted for the period of parole. So if that parole period ends, so would the employment authorization document.
Well, why would an alien who has no legal means of being in the U.S. still be able to work legally in the U.S.?
The employment authorization document is tied very directly to the end period of the parole.
What's the largest number of aliens that one supporter has sponsored between October 2022 and present?
Again, another question that I tried to get answered by today, but unfortunately it requires more work and not just work at USCIS.
Well, let me ask you this. What percentage of your workforce is still working at home?
I don't have the answer to that, but what I can say with regard to
What do you mean you
remote
can't
work.
answer that question? That's another fundamental basic question of administration. How many of your employees are still working at home?
I don't have that answer with me, but I can get it for you. That is definitely. But what I can say is that USCIS has never been more efficient than it is today, and has never been more secure
Your
and
appearance here
more
today,
full of integrity
your
than it is
appearance here
today.
today totally contradicts that conclusion. My time's concluded. Recognize the ranking member.